We are weak and socially anxious. We don't speak or make eye contact anymore. For the first time in history, you can see a big black ignorant nigga in the hood with two do-rags on, walking around like an Asian transfer student. When people see me, they think I'm the stereotypical Detroit nigga, but I'm really just some loser talking shit on the internet living with his mother. The reason I feel like I had to make a video about this is because I've already seen a couple of videos on the topic and they basically all say the same shit. We're addicted to comfort, or that the surplus of information has desensitized us to human interaction. And basically what that means is that although the internet is an amazing tool, if any jackass with a cell phone can use it, we will treat it as such. Communication becomes meaningless stimulation, human interaction becomes devoid of any meaning and is reduced to mere noise. But the thing that I haven't heard anyone say is that the reduction in value of human communication is not limited to the internet. Ever since 2014, day-to-day life has progressively become more and more bullshit, but in 2020, things began to exponentially increase. This year represents something very sinister that I just can't quite find the adjective. Why am I talking like that? 2020 represented a cultural shift in thinking in America. It went from every man for himself to every man for himself, but you're also a part of a hive mind. Imagine if America was run by the Chinese government but retained only its economic and cultural values. What you get is a Black Mirror episode. America has this voluntary form of authoritarianism. We're kind of living in a parallel timeline to the French Revolution where the guillotine is just a cell phone camera. We've adopted this crabs in a bucket mentality. People treat a strong opinion about anything now as a threat. Religion has drastically decreased, and as a result you see community being replaced with online alternatives, but the problem is, in a society where individualism is prioritized, you lose the ability to adapt to the company of others. Sprinkle in a little materialism and nihilism, and what you get is a culture that unknowingly perpetuates its own sadness. Nihilism isn't inherently bad, it's actually very important. It occurs when your previous life values and morals have been shattered. For instance, a Catholic black man living in the 19th century may feel empty after discovering the very book he devoted his life to was used to justify the enslavement of his people. Nihilism is what progresses society. Martin Luther King would have never led the civil rights movement if he never experienced intense existential dread. Many black people were quite content being hosed down and drinking out of the colored-only water fountains, because a fish doesn't know it's swimming in water. People were oppressed for so long that they didn't realize that they aren't supposed to be. Without nihilism, MLK would have never strapped his nuts on. He would have just been content being the monkey that shines the white man's boots. But the nihilistic phase in Gen Z seems to be lasting an eternity, and it's because every time someone tries to rationalize the absurdity that is life, someone pulls 40 different buzzwords out their ass to try to cancel you. The destruction of traditional values alongside technological innovation in a capitalistic society has led to morality becoming a currency. Filling the void of purpose with material things works temporarily, but in the end you end up feeling even more empty. The same thing happens when members of a nihilistic society compete over who's morally superior. It's entirely meaningless and contradictory. As sad as this video is, I have a solution. But it's about as good as you'd expect some kid to propose a solution to a global health crisis. Pretty shit. My solution is to stop avoiding conflict, welcome disagreement, and no matter what buzzword some bitch on Twitter throws at you for actually believing in something, do not fold. Stand your ground. It'll feel uncomfortable, and you'll be portrayed as the villain for a while, but doing so will give others the courage to do the same. And hopefully, we go back to normal after a while, where people have unique opinions and values about life and not just basic shit that they read on an Instagram infographic like being homophobic is bad, racism sucks, and Geminis are bipolar.